All right, guys. So Alex Pereira gets it done, and he's able to take out Magomedov Ankalaev in style. UFC 320. I'm going to jump on, give you guys my quick reaction to that. I was out all day doing stuff with this NBA/NBL thing in Melbourne, so I watched the main event. I was able to catch some of the fights as well, but I want to take some time to focus in, go through everything, and of course, there's that morning after that's going to be dropping tomorrow, where we're going to go through everything. You guys are going to get your questions in live. And again, I'll put that up soon. We've got a bunch of special guests. Mike Heck's going to be in the building. Caroline Pierce is going to be in the building. We'll see what else is going to happen. But when that pops up on your feed, make sure you hit that button, that little bell button, so you don't miss it. Because I know there's some time difference stuff going on. There's some daylight savings. So don't miss that one live. It's going to be a big episode. Talk about Merab, talk about Jiri and Khalil a little bit more in detail, and some of the other big losses. What about Patchy Mix? Man, losing that one. A lot of things to discuss. That is tomorrow, so make sure to jump on. We'll go through everybody's questions. Make sure you come prepared. That's going to be a big episode. But I just wanted to react to Alex Pereira winning, man, because this thing was unbelievable. Pretty crazy as well. UFC dropping the footage on their Instagram straight away. From an alternative angle. And for those that missed the fight, let's have a quick look at what happened here. This is courtesy of the UFC, brought to you by the UFC. Let's have a look here. As you guys can see here, Alex Pereira being able to drop Ankalaev. It took about 1 minute and 20 seconds. Many of us believed that this could be an even rougher fight for Pereira if he didn't come out and didn't get aggressive early and sort of do something like this. And there it is. Shows you the difference of a prepared Pereira. Look at that moment at the end there. A prepared Pereira without a hand injury, neurovirus, and all that. Most importantly, I think that, as we suspected, you got to stay prepared. You got to be the best version of yourself. And I think he took too many last-minute fights. At the end of the day, Ankalaev, incredible 205er. We all know this, but I think, Pereira came out ready to go today, and he was able to deliver. Took a risk, and he was able to capitalize and, dream big, dare to dream, in the words of Israel Adesanya. And, of course, in the words of Alex Volkanovski, adversity is a privilege. So congratulations to him. He is now back on top. Now, some interesting stuff happening at the post-fight press conference today. I want to share a little bit of footage here from one of our friends, one of my good friends, actually, Oscar Willis at the Mac Life. He's obviously doing an incredible job covering the event. Let's just have a look here. Let me just refresh this because, on Dana White's one. Because Dana White had some stuff to say about not wanting to see Alex Pereira at heavyweights here.
At work and had a bunch of meetings over there this afternoon. And I went over to the PI, and he was over in the PI. And I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about, heavyweight. And I don't know.
What is your hesitation about him going up to heavyweight? He's mentioned it a few times in the past. He always wanted that Jon Jones fight. And I understand why maybe that fight wasn't appealing to you, but what is your reservations about sending him to heavyweight at this point?
Probably that he was a middleweight. He was a middleweight, and he's going to jump up 2 weight classes in the UFC. It's not like jumping up 2 weight classes in boxing. It's a big jump.
And as far as Jiri's performance,
and it's not that I have any reservations about it. I mean, the guy is he's in a division that there's still some interesting fights. I don't know. It's just I like the guy so much. We'll see. We'll have to talk about it.
So it's interesting there, because you guys saw Dana White not 100% sold on Alex Pereira going to heavyweight. Interesting. Especially with the fact that he has now maybe regained that spot as one of the UFC's biggest stars. He's a little bit older. You want to sort of make the most out of what you have right now with the UFC, with Alex Pereira. He has kind of gone through a lot of the 205 division. We'll talk about what's next for him in just a second. I just want to share some footage as well, because Alex Pereira actually spoke about this whole heavyweight thing. He only wanted to sort of make one statement on it. For those that missed the post-fight press conference just before, have a listen to what he had to say. This was somebody asking him about if he was planning on calling out Jon Jones and moving to heavyweight.
Please, with all the respect, I was going to ask for Jon Jones in the White House, but with everything that happened, it's not the right time to talk about it.
That's fair. If you did go to heavyweight, we're seeing now a lot that the champions have to vacate their belt when they're moving up.
It's interesting
Are
stuff right
you
there.
willing to
Another
part
good
ways with
question
that
here from
title
Mike
if you
Bond
go to
about the
heavyweight?
belt.
Você indo para o peso pesado, a gente está vendo que os campeões que mudam de categoria estão tendo que deixar o cinturão vago. Você está disposto a fazer isso?
Não, acho que não é necessário. Todo mundo sabe a frequência que eu luto, então isso não vai ser problema.
I don't think that's needed. Everyone knows how often I fight, so that's not going to be an issue.
Well, there you guys go. So Alex Pereira talking about that. He's looking at heavyweight super fight next. They also brought up Hamzat and the fact that he tweeted at him. Alex Pereira said that he appreciates Hamzat's sort of message, but he has no interest and he wants to fight at heavyweight. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a Hamzat Pereira thing like we thought there could have been between DDP and Pereira. And there was also a question around Dana White saying that he doesn't want to see Pereira at heavyweight, and Pereira sort of responded by saying that he spoke to Dana White. They already had a conversation about it, and the outcome of it was a secret. So Alex Pereira, very secretive about what happened with the Dana White thing, but no doubt about it, this is something that he's going to be approaching Dana White with next. This is something he's going to want to sort of find out from Dana White about in terms of the White House, in terms of Jon Jones, of course, Jon Jones as well, sending out a congratulations to Alex Pereira. And my thoughts go out to Jones and his family, as of course, he lost his brother just the other day in a shocking update. And I know he was only 39. And so he's going through it right now. So talking about Jon Jones, and of course, for Jon Jones to talk about Alex Pereira right now is probably not the right time. But I will say that, Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones at the White House. For Jon Jones, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's not Tom Aspinall. It's a fight that he knows he could win. He could use his grappling. And for Alex Pereira, he can go out there and he could fight Jon Jones, lose, and then go back to light heavyweight and probably defend his belt a couple of times. So I don't think there's any losing for Alex Pereira doing that. I don't really understand the hesitancy that Dana White has about Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight. Utilize one of your biggest stars at heavyweight where there's not many people to fight. And, if Alex Pereira gets Jon Jones back and that fight happens, that's being able to utilize two names that you couldn't before. It's really interesting as well. People forget that before Alex Pereira lost to Ankalaev, he was a big part of the negotiations between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones. The UFC was going to use Pereira likely in order, if you don't want to fight Tom Aspinall, here's Alex Pereira. You can fight him instead. He was going to be a big bargaining chip. He was going to be one of the reasons why, maybe, okay, we won't pay you as much, but you can fight Alex Pereira. He was going to be a big reason for the UFC to use him as sort of the carrot on the stick for Jon Jones to come back. And now that he's beaten Ankalaev, I think that Alex Pereira realizes this could be his big fight where he can cash in, fight Jon Jones, and who knows, potentially even retire after that. So that's an interesting one right there. Just a couple of questions here on the YouTube from you guys. I appreciate you guys. I just chucked it up a second ago. So one question here, and I'll talk about Merab versus Volk and Patchy Mix and his future on morning after tomorrow. So tune in for that. I promise I'll cover it. I've got to get going in a second and get back into it. But I was going to say, the question that I want to address here is Jiri. Should he get the next shot, even though he lost twice to Pereira, or does Carlos Ulberg get it? That's going to be the big question here. So for those wondering, Alex Pereira got asked at the press conference about who he prefers between Jiri and Ulberg, and Pereira just said the best. Carlos Ulberg, just coming off Perth this past weekend, 9-fight win streak, beat Jan, and then made a statement against Dominic Reyes, a brutal statement just in the main event of Perth before. And I think, Jiri, and we're going to break down his fight again tomorrow morning after, so make sure you hit that bell so we could really go through it properly. But, he's already fought Alex Pereira twice. If, Ankalaev won tonight, no doubt about it, you can do Jiri and Ankalaev, because technically that's probably a bigger fight. But Carlos Ulberg was there. He flew all the way to UFC 320. He's ready. He's in shape. He's good to go. I think it would be absolutely ridiculous for Carlos Ulberg not to get this next title shot. Don't you guys agree? 9-fight win streak, fresh matchup, and please tell me that you guys wouldn't be interested in seeing what a Pereira-Ulberg fight would look like. You know, Ulberg, he's a very, very technical counter striker. You know, he is like the black jag in there. He gets in there, he kind of prowls around, goes under the radar, and then he strikes. And, you know, Pereira is the type of guy that's going to move forward on Ulberg. He's not going to be afraid to take chances and risks. I think this makes for a fantastic battle. The interesting thing as well is I'm not sure because we all saw Pereira have some kind of toe thing, but we are only in October. We're in October. I know that Pereira wants this whole Jon Jones thing, and that's likely like to be at the White House, obviously around June, July. But Ulberg is ready now. Pereira is always ready to go. He looks like outside of the toe thing, he's relatively healthy. And the UFC is in need of big fights. The champions fighting. I think Pereira's regained a lot of that excitement that he lost when he lost that fight against Magomed Ankalaev. So why not in the meantime? Why not do a Pereira-Ulberg fight before he moves up to heavyweight? I think that could be a really, really good fight. So, I mean, if Pereira is sticking around light heavyweight, or if Pereira is looking for his next fight, I think, you know, breaking it down, it's not going to be Jiri. I think Jiri it might be good just to sit out just for a sec, just to see what happens between Ulberg and Pereira, because I think for Jiri, he can slot in quite nicely depending on what happens. And also, you know, Pereira doesn't really have any opponents anyway outside of Ulberg. He stays quite active. So I think Jiri could slot in quite easily, regardless of sort of whether he fights next or not. He might just be able to sit to the side and just see how this whole thing plays out. And I'm sure he's pretty banged up anyway after this Khalil fight, so he'll be on suspension for a little bit. And I think you do this Carlos Ulberg Pereira fight next. Now, we're going to break down exactly what happens and how that fight would look like. But I want to get your predictions in the description below. If you put together this fight and you put Pereira, the version that we saw today, against the Ulberg that we saw last weekend, who do you think is going to win? Now, I got a bit of flack because I've been talking about with Jed Meshew and the countless other journalists that I think Pereira should go up to heavyweight. So my question to you guys is, what do you think is the right path for Pereira? For example, he says he wants a super fight at heavyweight. So that would only indicate Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. We know that Aspinall is about to fight Cyril Gane. Do we wait and see what happens with that fight? And then do we see if we do like an Aspinall Pereira fight, because that would be a big fight? Or do we lure Jon Jones back into the mix by having Pereira in the mix there? Is that the path? Or do you want to see Pereira move up to heavyweight and fight someone like a Gane if he loses against Tom Aspinall? What would you guys like to see next for Pereira? Personally, I think if he sticks around light heavyweight, you got to do Carlos Ulberg. But I would say that the other path could be, you know, maybe vacating that belt. We know that everyone has to do it now. If Islam Makhachev had to do it, surely Alex Pereira will have to do it. And, you know, what about a Jiri Carlos Ulberg sort of interim belt thing happening there? You get Alex Pereira move up to heavyweight, give him the crack at Jon Jones. It might have to be sooner than the White House. Maybe you get them in sort of for this Paramount card, the big announcement card, the big free CBS card, just to show that Jon Jones is willing to come back and actually fight. And then, you know, if Jon Jones beats Pereira, then you give him, you know, Aspinall at the White House or whatever. Or imagine if Pereira beats Jon Jones. Wow, that would be crazy as well. And then if Pereira loses, you can bring him back down and he can fight the winner of Jiri and Ulberg. I think that's probably going to be what we think is the best solution tomorrow as we break it all down in detail the morning after. Anyway, drop down your thoughts below. Also want to shout out everybody. I've had so many nice messages this week after Perth and some of the content that I've dropped. I really appreciate all you guys. So none of that goes unnoticed. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. It's going to be me, Mike Heck. I'm going to have Caroline Pierce in there. Who knows who else is going to drop by? I've still got to check my messages and see what happens, but can't wait to sort of dissect this thing properly and go through it all. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, please jump on, become a Submission Radio member today. It really supports the program. And don't forget, Manscaped is back this month. They are supporting the program. You get 15% off with the code word submission. Go to Manscaped right now. There's the lawnmower, the beard hedger, the weed whacker, whether it's your nose, your face, your hair, whether it's your beard. Manscaped has you covered. They also have the most comfortable underwear and T-shirts. I swear to God, I'm always wearing their stuff these days. It's the best, whether they sponsor me or not. 15% off and free shipping with the code word submission. Link in the description below. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Coffee ready, guests ready, topics ready. We're going to go in depth on morning after about what's next, UFC 320. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow.